put on.
Thank you, Trish, for that introduction. Again, this is Alan Freeman, the Missouri Department of Agriculture's Industrial Hemp Program. I want to thank you for your interest in the Missouri Industrial Hemp Program. The presentation today is going to be an overview of the program's role, application approval process, and the requirements for producers and permit holders once approved. To get started, the Industrial Hemp Program is comprised of 2 staff members. Myself, I'm the program administrator, and then Aaron Casey Campbell is our program coordinator. Our program coordinator has most of our face-to-face interaction with producers and will in the future. Email is the best way to get a hold of us, and using the hemp program at mda.mo.gov is the best email address for us. There are also many online resources available on our website. I believe Trish is going to provide the access to those as well. If not, I'll have a slide here in just a second that talks about the resources we have on our website. So if you go to agriculture.mo.gov, the drop-down tab in the center for plants and pests, our web link is the Industrial Hemp Program, and that takes you to all the resources of our program. So on the Industrial Hemp Program page, you'll find a brief overview, several web links, including where our state plan is located on the USDA's website, program rules, a menu with the links to the applications page, and information hubs for each of our license types, the frequently asked questions page, and additional resources. We do encourage anybody who's interested in the program or currently part of the program to review that information, as we do keep it up to date on a regular basis. When you send us an email, we'll put you in our Gov delivery list so we can send you updates as applicable. If you're a registered producer or permit holder, you'll get updates, or even a certified sampler, you'll get updates as we send out updates with regards to web page updates and corrections. Just a little bit of history on the program. I think history is a good thing to have a foundation as to where we have been and where we're headed. So with the changes in the industry over the last few years, many are familiar with the 2014 Farm Bill that allowed states to begin a pilot program to research the potential for industrial hemp production in their states. In late 2018, the next iteration of the Farm Bill, the 2018 Farm Bill, was signed into law. It provided guidance on how states would be required to implement a commercialized rather than the research-based industrial hemp program. This allowed for commercialization. Additional details were followed in the interim final rule that came out in October of 2019. In January of 2020, Missouri's state rules incorporating the November public comment period and requirements with the recent interim rule changes became effective, allowing for the program to begin accepting and approving applications. So 2020 was our first official year, or our first official growing season for industrial hemp in the state of Missouri. USDA reviewed and ultimately approved Missouri state plan in September of 2020, and that allows Missouri producers to continue under existing state regulations. State plan approval did not require any regulatory changes for Missouri. Another element that is important to understand is what the Missouri Industrial Hemp Program regulates and what it does not. So the Missouri Department of Agriculture's Industrial Hemp Program regulates only viable industrial hemp. Viable means that anything capable of living or growing, which includes seeds, those that are capable of germination, and then a bit more obviously the living plants such as seedlings, clones, or cuttings, or plants at other stages of growth. In order to be defined as industrial hemp, the plants must be sampled prior to harvest and be tested at or below 0.3% total THC. Because the program only regulates viable industrial hemp, the program therefore does not regulate non-viable industrial hemp products. This includes harvested materials that cannot live or grow, such as retted fiber stalks or seedless floral material. Essentially, once a crop is tested below the THC threshold of 0.3%, and is no longer viable, is considered a publicly marketable product and is no longer regulated by the program. Therefore, the program does not specifically offer a processor, extractor, handler, or transporter license. Although the Industrial Hemp Program's regulatory authority ends at viability, the products themselves may be regulated by other programs, agencies, or entities depending on their intended use. For example, products for human consumption may be regulated by the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services and the Food and Drug Administration. And you should contact those agencies to determine what additional requirements may need to be met for those end products. So with that regulatory authority established, the Department's Industrial Hemp Program issues two main license types. They are the producer registration and the agriculture hemp propagule and seed permit. By law, in order for an individual to lawfully possess or obtain viable hemp in Missouri, they must have one of these two registrations. There is actually a third type in Missouri, and that's for certified industrial hemp samplers. And we'll discuss that a little bit later. First, producer registration is required to produce any industrial hemp in Missouri. This includes any production type and or scale, from backyard farmers to large-scale commercial production. All production must be done on a registered site. The second type is the agriculture hemp propagule and seed permit. The permit's required to sell, distribute, or offer for sale any viable industrial hemp. This is essentially just a sales permit. An important distinction, however, is the term viable. Remember, viable means anything that's capable of living or growing. So if someone wants to sell seed or transplants, this is a required permit. If someone wants to sell hemp fiber stalks, it is not required because those hemp fiber stalks are not capable of living or growing. The type of license needed for an operation depends on their operations plans, but many people in our program have both of these types of licenses. For example, if you want to grow and sell propagules, such as clones or seedlings, you'll need a producer registration to grow them and an agriculture hemp propagule and seed permit to sell them. For application requirements, once you've decided which type of licenses your operation requires, you'll find the application forms and additional information on the Applications tab, as shown in previous slides. In order to apply, you'll need to complete the application form or forms, complete a background check, submit a map of a proposed location, and include an application fee of $750, which is also due annually. The background check is required for anyone who has executive control over the operation, otherwise known as key participants. Those with controlled substances related felony convictions in the last 10 years cannot be approved for producer registration. The background check process is started online, but the fingerprinting is done in person. More details are available on the Applications tab and through the MOX portal through the Missouri State Highway Patrol. The application forms are available to download online, but must be mailed in. There are no online payment options available at this time. There's no application window or submission deadline. You may apply at any time. There's no limit on the number of licenses issued, either statewide or by county, and there's no minimum or maximum of the size of the operation. When evaluating locations for production, there are a few elements to consider. Once approved, you can produce anywhere within your registered property, except that you cannot produce within a residential structure. This includes even in temporary production like starting seedlings. The program does not have any security requirements such as fencing, cameras, or signage, but you are welcome to include those measures if you see fit. The program does not have any zoning or setback limits, such as required spacing from churches or schools. However, you should check with your local, city, or county officials to ensure you are compliant with any regulations specific to your area. After you are approved, you must continue to stay in communication with the department, maintain records, and submit reports. More on this is coming next. Industrial Hemp Program license information is public information. The program posts an approved operations list on our website, which includes license numbers, individual business name, depending on how you've applied, and the business mailing address. This posted address may or may not be the physical grow location, depending on how you completed the application. Additional information, including contact information, is available through Missouri Sunshine requests, as a producer may receive communications from suppliers, laboratories, buyers, and others. Missouri's registered producers can purchase seed or propagules such as clones or seedlings from any Missouri permit holder, any supplier with an applicable industrial hemp license in another state or territory, or from a supplier approved by USDA for international import. They have more information available on their website. Missouri does not have an approved varieties list or require certified seed. However, you should ensure that you do your due diligence when selecting suppliers and varieties. Once your producer registration is approved, you may begin planting. You do not have to plant, but if you do not, you will need to submit a no plant notification by August 1st. Instructions are available on the Registered Producers tab of the program website. If you do plant, you must report the planting to both the Missouri Department of Agriculture and to the Farm Service Agency, also known as FSA. These are separate agencies and separate reports. The MDA planning report form and how to guide is available in the Registered Producers tab of the program website. Details about FSA reporting are available from your local USDA office. An office locator website is linked from the Registered Producers website as well. In addition to planting reports, there are a few additional reports to complete. First, the lot report, which keeps notes on each crop for sampling, testing, and harvesting, must be maintained throughout the season, but is not directly submitted unless requested. This will be reviewed upon inspection. Next, for permit holders, it is the distribution and sales report. This is a record of sales or distribution of viable hemp, so only things like seeds or clones. This is not required for non-viable sales. Finally, as each season wraps up, all producers and permit holders must submit an annual report, one for each license. This annual report is a basic summary of your activities throughout the year. Instructions are provided each fall, and all license holders must maintain all records for 3 years, including these reports and more as a requirement of your license. These records and reports that you are required to maintain will be reviewed upon request or inspection. Program staff will inspect and audit a minimum of 1/3 of license holders every year, equating to each license being inspected at least once per 3 years. These type of inspections are randomly selected and an appointment is scheduled usually 1 to 2 weeks in advance. At these inspections, staff will conduct a crop inspection and an audit of all records, including from previous year's crops. There are a limited number of pesticide products available for use on industrial hemp. As of December 2020, the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, had approved 49 products, most being biopesticides. All products in the channels of trade in Missouri must be approved by EPA and registered by the Missouri Department of Agriculture's Bureau of Plant Pesticides. You can use the link provided here to check the status of individual products. Shortly before publishing this presentation, the University of Missouri Extension cross-referenced the EPA list and NMDA registrations and created this list of approved products. As time goes on and additional products are approved by the EPA and registrations may expire, ensure pesticide compliance by double-checking your desired product is approved for use on industrial hemp in Missouri. Once your crop approaches harvest, you must have it sampled for compliance. Each lot, which is a group of plants of the same variety or strain grown in a continuous area, must be sampled and tested separately. Each of those samples is comprised of several individual cuttings from a random selection of many plants to form a representative composite sample. Once this compliance sample is collected, harvest of all plants within that lot can begin immediately, but must be completed within the next 15 days. If there are any plants remaining after the 15th day, the remaining plants must be redefined as a new lot and be resampled and tested separately. These compliance samples must be collected by a third party, known as a certified industrial hemp sampler. These individuals are hired by producers just like any other hired service and are not employees, representatives, inspectors, or contractors of the Missouri Department of Agriculture. Certified samplers can be producers themselves, but they cannot collect for themselves, their employer, or any registration in which they are a key participant, such as having executive control or a financial stake. In order to become certified, an individual must take a training course, pass the MDA Industrial Hemp Sampler exam with a score of at least 80%, and submit an application and fee. A list of the certified samplers and their contact information is available on the program website. Registered producers can select any testing laboratory in any state that meets the requirements. The requirements include that they are either DEA registered, or ISO 17025 accredited. Additionally, registered producers are required to select a laboratory that meets USDA reporting and testing requirements. As Missouri is operating under a state plan, the laboratory chosen must meet federal requirements. In Missouri, compliance is determined based on total THC, specifically 0.3% of total THC. Total THC is a combination of two compounds, delta 9 THC and THCA. One method of obtaining this figure is to calculate the potential total THC. This is done by measuring delta 9 THC and THCA separately, then adding 87.7% of the THCA measurement and the full delta 9 THC measurement. This calculation accounts for the conversion rate of THCA into delta 9. The other method for a laboratory is to actually convert the THCA into delta 9, rather than calculating the potential. This is a process called decarboxylation, and is essentially heating the sample to induce the real-life conversion. After that process, the decarboxylated delta 9 THC is measured and is considered the total THC measurement. The measurement of uncertainty can be critical to the compliance of a close test. Shown here in Lot A1, the total THC measurement is actually above the 0.3% threshold, about 0.35% or so. However, the measurement of uncertainty here looks to be about 0.06%, creating a range of 0.29 to 0.41%. This range that has created now contains the 0.3% threshold, therefore it is a passing or compliant lot, even though the actual measurement is above the limit. In the same way, Lot A2 is compliant. This actual measurement for total THC was already below the 0.3% threshold, so even though the range created does go above the threshold, it remains a compliant lot. Finally, Lot A3 is our non-compliant lot. The total THC measurement was well above the limit, and even though the range created by the measurement of uncertainty gets it closer to the 0.3% limit, it remains non-compliant. So if a test shows the range contains or is below the 0.3% total THC threshold, it is a compliant lot. The producer then has 30 days to submit a copy of their test results to the department, or they can have the lab send them to us directly. However, the producer is ultimately responsible for ensuring the department receives the results within the allotted time frame. Once a crop is harvested or no longer capable of living or growing, it is no longer regulated by the Missouri Department of Agriculture's Industrial Hemp program and may enter commerce. Of course, it isn't a totally a free-for-all after that point, as the products may be regulated depending on the use, but is not under the authority of the Missouri Department of Agriculture's Industrial Hemp program anymore. On the other side of the coin, if the test shows up that the crop is non-compliant, sometimes referred to as a hot crop, the producer must act a bit quicker. They now have 3 business days to submit their test results to the department. Next, they can request for the lab to retest the remaining portion of the sample and the laboratory already has if they believe the results were made in error. If the lab cannot for any reason, or that retest also comes back hot, the destruction process will be initiated. There is no post-harvest sampling permitted. If a crop tests hot or is otherwise out of compliance, the final step is an order of destruction issued by the department. This order will come as a certified letter outlining details and next steps. The producer is then responsible for ensuring destruction is completed by an approved method within 15 days. On-site, traditional farm practices are common methods such as disking, plowing, tilling, brush hogging, or burning, if allowed. No matter the method, the entire crop must be rendered unusable and non-retrievable. After destruction is complete, the Missouri State Highway Patrol must certify the destruction is completed and sufficient. Appropriate contact information is provided in the order of destruction. Although the certification may be delegated to a local office, producers must utilize the Missouri State Highway Patrol channel to arrange the certification appointment. After these steps, producers will submit a copy of destruction report back to the department. Additional details and many additional resources are available on the program website. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact the Missouri Industrial Hemp Program at hempprogram@mda.mo.gov, or our main line is 573-522-0351. Thank you.